Hello and welcome to a millinery hat selling video. My name is Ilona, I'm a milliner based in London, and today we're at London Accessory Week. It's Friday, the 15th of July, one day before London Accessory Week. So today is packing day and generally trying to relax and stay calm day, because I am slightly worried that I've either made too many hats or not enough hats. I think I've made just over 40 hats. I've tried to do a kind of even spread between rainbow colours and different types of hair colours. This is the first time I'm doing a fair like this, so I don't know if I've estimated things correctly. It's also very hot. This is the hottest week this year so far in London. We've had highs of 30 degrees, and after the weekend it's even going to reach 36, which is absolutely insane for London, and working through the heat has been very, very tough. So I've kind of been working nights and sleeping during the hot days, so my clock is all over the place and I need to make sure I get myself to bed early today. But today I also have an awful lot of things to be getting on with because I'm about 2 days behind where I would like to have been. I need to photograph some of the hats behind me here for my website, and then after that I've also got to make sure that I am packed and ready to go to the fair because it's a fairly early start tomorrow. I mean, it's a fairly early start for me. Usually I like to wake up around 10 AM and then I work quite late, but because this is normal people working day, I actually need to be at the fair for 9 AM for setting up the table, and the fair starts at 11. Let's take the photos. Here's a quick summary of how I take my pictures. I am using a micro 4/3 Lumix G80 camera with a 60mm zoom lens. The zoom lens allows me to take a general picture of a whole hat and then zoom in to take a detailed shot without moving the camera or my subject. I have the camera mounted on a Manfrotto tripod so that it is nice and sturdy. I have also hooked up the camera to my laptop so that I can see the scene much bigger than on the tiny camera viewer, and I am using a remote clicker to release the shutter and take a photo. For my lighting, I have a light ring with a softbox attached to it pointing straight at the hat from behind the camera. And to the right of the scene, I have a square LED panel pointing at the ceiling and bouncing light downwards onto my hats. My assistant Drusilla is of course on hand to photobomb some of my images because she is the star of the show and she knows it. As for props, today I am using a brass hat stand. If I'm photographing a pillbox, I tend to rest it on the round brass top that came with the stand. Although for some hats, like my visor or halo shapes, I prefer how they look on a polystyrene head. For my backdrops, I use A1 sized coloured mounting cards. Please let me know in the comments if you would like a more comprehensive product photography for millinery video. I could go into more details about image composition, camera settings and editing of the images. I've finished taking all the photos. It's now 7:30 PM. I'm feeling a little more tired than I was earlier, obviously. But less nervous, I think, because I was focused so much on just taking nice pictures that I've completely forgotten all about worrying about the fair. Anyway, it's now time to pack everything up for the stall. I want to pack the general display things first, and I have quite a lot of these acrylic stands that I think the only way to transport everything will be in a giant suitcase. Oh, Precious! Oh, Precious, are you gonna help me? Are you gonna help? Am I taking you to Accessory Week? I don't want to sell you. I love you too much. You are not for sale, little girlie. You are not for sale. Oh no, you're gonna make yourself comfy in there. Okay, bye-bye. I have a white tablecloth here, which is linen. therefore it's very creased, and I was really hoping that I would have access to some plug points at the venue, but in their email about what's going on, they said there's no access to any plug sockets, so I won't be able to iron it or steam it. I think what I want to do is wrap the mirror with the tablecloth so that it's nice and protected and doesn't crack on the way. This is quite a handy mirror from IKEA. It's called Karmsund. I have got boxes and boxes of little flower hair clips right here. This is a box of orchids, and I'm hoping that it's these that are going to distract from the tablecloth being wrinkled, because I can sprinkle them amongst the hats and no one will notice the creases in the tablecloth. This is where we get to play suitcase Tetris. I'm going to start packing away some of the acrylic bases for the acrylic hat stands. These are really useful to travel with. They're nice and light. I do also have a couple of brass hat stands, but they are really heavy, and I'm really glad that actually I stumbled across these at the John Boyd hat block sale. So thank you so much to Sarah who sold these on to me, and they're not going to waste, they're being used. I've also got a couple of mini tiny ones. I am also now starting to realise that there's a mess in the background of the shot. That is Drusilla's toy paper. She likes to play with paper. And these are all the sticks with the little stands on them that go into the bases, and then the hats go onto these. This one is my favourite stand. Isn't it stunning with these flowy long arms? That's going to give a good amount of height to my table display. I'm going to call in some help. Husband! These need to come off the stands.
Yep.
So keep the top together and just take the bottom off. Also, this needs taking apart. This is rather handy. This is a headband stand, so you can pop your headbands on like this.
Do we have anywhere to put the screws?
Yes, there is a bag of screws. There it is.
Okay.
Imagine if I'd done all that and it's all out of focus. The packing is progressing. This is the flat packed hairband holder. These little table clips, you see them sometimes in outdoor restaurants where they're holding on the tablecloth to the table. I figured I'd take these just because I have them. I'm planning on using this shelf to put my business cards into. I've also prepared some paper bags for people to take their purchases away in, and I printed off some stickers with my name on the bags, kind of some last minute branding. And now on top of that, the mirror and the tablecloth. What have I got left? Oh, got one of these. This is a vintage 1940s poupée head holder. So normally this lives on my table, and usually my cork poupée head Anne lives on top of it. But I figured this would also help hold the tablecloth down onto the table, and I can put either Anne or Cece on this and expand a little bit the display. I'm going to take a paperweight because sometimes these acrylic stands, because they're so light, they tend to fall over, so a paperweight should help with that. Some business cards, lots and lots of business cards. I will probably not end up giving all of these away, but I figured I'd rather take more rather than less and take some home. Oh, well, this is rather important. Taking card payments with a Zettel Reader 2 by PayPal. You can only get one of these if you are a registered business, I think, because they used to allow them for personal payments, but they don't anymore, and this is a UK finance policy thing, so if you want to get yourself one of these, you'll have to read through all their terms and conditions. It was a bit scary and daunting figuring out between all the various different companies which one I should go for, and having done a lot of research, I picked this one. I've tested it once, just I kind of paid myself. There's obviously fees involved in the transfer of funds, but there's nothing you can really do about that. It's PayPal fees, essentially, and it helps me take card payments. And when someone's buying a hat, the average price of one of my hats is about £150. You're not going to have that in cash on you, so always handy to have a card reader. And to go with the card reader, a power bank, because as I've already said, I don't have access to any plug sockets at the venue, but I've charged up a handy Anchor charging point, just in case I need it. A few more bits and bobs. We're kind of moving into stationery territory here. So what else am I taking? I'm taking some hairspray. This isn't for my hair. This is for all the hats that have veiling on them, because I'm slightly worried that as I transport them, the veiling will get a little bit crushed, and that would be a shame. But the hairspray, it's like a kind of stiffening agent. It will help revitalize it, and I can reshape it on the day once I'm there at the stall. Some wet wipes and microfiber cloths for cleaning the mirror and some of the acrylic stands, and apparently these are biodegradable? No. Yes, it says biodegradable. I wouldn't normally buy wet wipes. I was given these in a goodie bag from somewhere, but since I have them, I will use them, and I will dispose of them responsibly and not flush them down the toilet like a lot of people do here in the UK, and then our lovely River Thames gets stuck. So please don't flush your wet wipes down the toilet, and make sure they are at least biodegradable. And the last thing I think that I need, I've contained it all in a little makeup bag. I've got a pencil case of various pens and pencils, a stapler so that if someone needs to make a note of something, I've got some note paper for that. So if someone makes a note of a hat that they might like to order later online when they get home because I don't have the right colour, or I don't have the right size, or I don't have the right hair colour, or they like other models and they want to order it online, I can make a note and then staple one of my business cards to the notepad. Ideally, I would have had custom printed note paper, but I had a very bad experience with custom printing labels, and now I'm absolutely terrified of ordering anything that's custom printed and that I don't make myself, which is why earlier with the bags, I printed off the sticker to put on the paper bag myself. Maybe you've had experience of good companies, and let me know what they are in the comments, please, because I don't know who to trust anymore. I'm also going to take a fan because it's going to be hot. It's hot today, it's going to be hot tomorrow, and then on Sunday it's going to be even hotter. It's getting up to 30 degrees on Sunday, and then on the Monday it's going to get up to 36. So what a day to be selling hats indoors, and I don't know if there's going to be air conditioning. A few other bits and bobs. I'm actually going to take some sewing stuff. So these are some elastics and also some ribbons, just in case someone likes a hat and it's not in the right matching hair colour for them, like the elastic or something, and I can very quickly change that there. So I'll also need to pack a mini sewing kit, which I'll actually put into my handbag. People need to know the size of their head, and I've got a tape measure to measure that. And into that I'm going to put all the little bags with the spare screws for the stands. And I should take 2 screwdrivers. We have matching his and hers screwdrivers with my husband. I get the small one, he gets the big one. It's now time to pack all of the 42 hats, I think it's 42, that I've made for the fair. In fact, let me check how many it is. I have a stock sheet here that I have printed off ready for the fair, and on the stock sheet I've got an image of the hat followed by the name, the details, the hair colour and the prices and all of that. And the reason I've done this is firstly to keep track of what I sell and what I don't sell, but secondly, my husband's going to be helping me out, hopefully. If I need to pop to the loo or go and get a cup of tea, he can, if he manages to sell a hat, he can mark off exactly which one he's sold. And let me just show you all the hats that I am planning to take with me. There's quite a lot. And as I package them away, I'm going to need to put a price tag on everything so that I'm not fumbling about with the stock sheet while I'm there. I bought these little price tags just on Amazon that are already threaded, and on one side I'm going to write the price and on the other side the model name of the hat so it can be cross-referenced on the stock sheet. And then once I've written it down, it gets threaded somehow into a hat. In this case, with the Drape Delight model, I'm just going to thread it through the comb and pop it straight into a box, or rather a bag, because hat boxes are very pretty, but they're very bulky and difficult to travel with on the tube. If I was taking a cab or something, then the hat boxes would be perfect, but I'm trying to conserve space. Let me figure out how to package one of these with the veil. So this is why I was talking about needing hairspray earlier. I steamed and hairsprayed this veil last night, but I think hopefully it will be supported enough with some tissue paper in there to transport it for one day, and then when I'm at the fair, if it needs a little more coaxing back into place, I can just use the hairspray again. And how much? £184? Actually, that would be an interesting video topic. Let me know if you guys are interested in how I price my hats. Everyone obviously prices their hats differently, but if you'd like to know how I price mine, leave me a comment below and tell me that. There we go. You see, now that's quite supported on the front there. Now with these two models, which I'm calling my Disquette Coquette model, the Cineme loopy bow at the top doesn't always travel well because sometimes it gets squished and then it becomes lopsided. So to package that away nicely, instead of using tissue paper, I've put some little clothes pegs there to hold it all in place, and these are going to go like this and in a larger bag. And as I've got space around them, next in I'll pop in this one and then its red model counterpart. Here I am marking down on my stock sheet which hats I have definitely packed. This is just so that I don't leave anything behind, or if I do manage to forget to pack something, I won't panic at the venue and think that I've lost something. I have chosen to pack the turbans into my giant hat box alongside my Victory visor. All the turbans are stuffed with tissue paper to support their shape. Oh, and those velvet rose pillboxes will have to go in a bag. They don't fit into the hat box. I think I'm finally done packing. It's 10:50 p.m. So I'm tired. It's time for dinner, bath and bed, and I will see you tomorrow on the tube on the way to Chelsea Town Hall. Good morning, it's 7:30 a.m. on Saturday the 16th of July, and in a moment of what can only be described as utter mayhem and panic, I realised that maybe I had a few too many bags for hats, so I've just spent a frantic 5 minutes putting some of them into the suitcase, and so I now have less bags. So I've got a suitcase, a hat box, and a couple more of the bags. On a train this early is that it is empty. Now that we've arrived, it's time to set up. Luckily, I had my husband to help me speed things up. While I was faffing around arranging hats, Matthew put together the acrylic hat stands that he had helped dismantle the day before. The table that was provided was so rickety, the slightest nudge would make it wobble. Not great for a hat display. I'm almost set up. I've got 3 more hats I can display. Which ones do you think I should pop on, husband? I'm thinking some of the Drape Delights and maybe another one of the pretty pleats. What do you think?
I think that sounds like a wonderful idea. Those are the ones that I think are going to sell the most.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. The lovely thing about silk dupion is it's really thick and it keeps its shape. So when these pillboxes travel, I pop the bow flaps down, and then when it's time to display them, they open back up like that and they keep their shape. Okay, the music's very loud, but I've finished setting up. Say hello, husband.
Hello, husband.
Here's the final table. And we've done that with about 50 minutes to spare. Good timing. Thought I was finished, but not quite. I missed taking off the placeholder mini clothes bags. And now I shall hand you over to my mother, Irina Porter, who, as a qualified Blue Badge guide, will tell you a little bit about the history of Chelsea Old Town Hall.
Chelsea Old Town Hall on the King's Road in London used to be the seat of the local government. Before our current structure of local authorities, called London boroughs, all local affairs were run by vestries, committees of important people attached to church parishes. The parish of St. Luke's Church, which is nearby, had its vestry hall on this site from 1860s. The borough of Chelsea was created in 1900, and in 1908 the previous town hall was replaced by this grand neoclassical building. In 1965, the current Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea was formed, and they built a new town hall in a different location. This building became known as the Chelsea Old Town Hall, and now is the home of the Chelsea Registry Office, where Judy Garland married Mickey Deans in 1969. Its Grand Hall is often hired out for events, such as London Accessory Week.
If you ever find yourself in London and in need of a tour, I have linked to Irina's website and contact information in the description box. Just made my first sale. In fact, 2 first sales. I sold one of these and also the Velvet Rose pillbox from the 5 different pillboxes video, which I will link to in the top right. It's the end of day 1. I've still sold only 2 hats, but that's okay because the aim of today was to just hand out loads of business cards, say hello to people and get to know the general public of Chelsea. I've packed up my table for the day. So all the hats are secure under the table, but I'm going to leave the mirror and Anne and Cece in place, and then when I get back tomorrow I'll have to take all the hats back out. See you tomorrow. It's now Sunday. I am definitely better rested. Yesterday I was so tired that this eye started twitching and I was scared a little bit. Let's jump on the train and get back to the venue. It's day 2 of London Accessory Week and I've arrived at the venue, Chelsea Town Hall, about half an hour before the event is due to open so that I could assemble my table again. Here it is. I considered changing up the display, but I figured just because I only had half an hour, I'll just do the same display that I had yesterday. But originally my plan had been to try and display the hats in a rainbow order, so going from red all the way to blues and purples, but actually I think it's turned out okay. It's all the colours all over the place everywhere, and yesterday people who were walking around were saying that my display was very colourful and they enjoyed that, so I guess stick with the thing that works. People are due to arrive soon. I will have my second morning coffee and see how the day goes. I've made it home after a very long day in the heat. I didn't really get much chance to film today because the day was slow and the day was hot. It's 5:47 p.m. at the moment and it's over. London Accessory Week is done. I've got some thoughts I'd like to share with you about my experience, what I thought of the event, what other sellers thought of the event, and maybe discuss a little bit if I would do this event or this kind of event again in the future. First off, let's start with some good points. I made so many great new friends. The sellers around my stall, they were so friendly. We had a lot of fun chatting together. For me, that was really a highlight. Now let's discuss a little bit about my disappointments, and not just my disappointments, but the disappointments of these other sellers that I was chatting to during the event. There was a lack of people coming through the door, a lack of customers to look at various stalls. And whilst you could put that down to the heat, it is very hot in London at the moment after all, it's also down to the event marketing and the event planning. I don't think this event was marketed to the general public as well as it was marketed to the stall holders. We had to pay a lot for the stall. In fact, to be fully transparent and honest, I will put a number here. This is what I paid for the stall. Did I make that money back? Yes, but only just. And the money I made back covered only the cost of the stall and not the cost of travel or the cost of my time spent being there several hours a day, at least paying me minimum wage. I did not make that back. However, I had different goals to most of the other sellers at this event. I was very lucky that I live locally. I'm from London, I live in London, the fair was in London. There were some sellers who were from all over the world. There were some people from Germany, there were some people from Denmark. There was also one lady who came all the way from the USA. And they said to me that they were very disappointed with their experience at this stall. Those ladies thought that it wasn't very well organised and it wasn't very well marketed, just like I think as well. And that's a shame because it had great potential. It was in a great location and it was a really lovely time of year. Not necessarily the best time of year for selling hats, because for hats we're kind of a bit mid-season, but for other accessories like jewellery, bags and things like that, I figured that actually those kind of stalls should have done better than they did. On my part, I set myself 3 goals for this fair. My first goal was, this is the minimum goal I wanted to reach, to meet new people and get feedback on my hats, because I've never sold my hats physically anywhere before. I've only ever sold online, and I thought it was really important to see how customers engaged with my hats, whether they liked how they looked or whether someone might have come along and say, oh, I really don't like that, or your stall is very bright and everything. But as I think I mentioned yesterday, people liked the fact that it was colourful, people liked my fabrics, people liked the vintage techniques. So I didn't get really any negative feedback at all. So that was very encouraging. So one could say that my goal is fulfilled. I handed out loads of cards, I met loads of new people, and hopefully this will lead to some orders in time for Ascot next year. Another part of my goal was to try and convince people that hats don't have to be just for Ascot or events, that you can wear hats, you know, every day, just for fun, like I do. And some people were still unsure about that, but that's okay. That's a long-term goal. My second goal was to at least cover the cost of the stall, which I did I didn't cover the cost of my time being at the stall, but I at least covered the cost of the stall. Thank goodness, otherwise I think I would have been rather disappointed. But I have had other milliners say to me when I've asked them about stalls and things, they have said, do you know what, you don't always make your money back on a stall, and it is more about handing out your cards and getting your name out there and hoping that people will come back and order a hat when they need one. If someone is not in the mood to buy something, they won't buy it. There's nothing you can do to convince them. The trick is to find the right people who are looking for the kind of thing that you're selling, and then you match them up, and then that's perfect. So I will admit that lots of my hats, to the average person, look more like Ascot hats than everyday hats, because I can understand that not everyone is as extravagant as me when it comes to dressing for everyday life. Maybe I should have had more hats like this one, some more casual hats, and then I might have done a little bit better, but never mind. My third goal would have been to actually make some money at the stall. So in other words, instead of just selling 2 hats to cover my costs, sell at least 4. So that's why I was really hoping that today, on the last day, I would get another sale, and I didn't. I had a lot of people come and try hats on and talk to me about the hats, and I got some people interested, but no one actually made a sale. But you know what, they might come back in the future, because now they've got my card, they know my name, and they can find me. And if you're watching this video because I met you at the stall, hi! It was really lovely to meet you all, and I really enjoyed talking to everyone and telling you all about hats and hat making, and I hope you stick around. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell button so that you don't miss when I post my next video. At the beginning of the video, I was worried about, have I made enough hats? I made too many hats. But at the same time, I couldn't have known what was going to be the kind of thing people were interested in. But I will know that for next time. What really is a shame is that I think other sellers at the fair were expecting something more, and they had travelled there, and this wasn't their first fair, and they were indeed disappointed. And I think for that reason, I would not do London Accessory Week again, which is a shame, because I feel like it was the only event that I could find in London that would kind of satisfy my niche of hats and accessories. I have considered selling at vintage fairs, and I don't really qualify because, yes, the style is vintage, but they are not vintage hats, they are modern hats. I don't really want to travel outside of London with this because I don't think I would ever make back my cost of paying for travel expenses, hotel expenses if I have to stay the night somewhere to do a fair like this that's not in London. It's just a shame that I can't find any other events within my hometown that would satisfy my niche. At the end of the day, I have tried something new, learnt something new, and had a chance to show all you guys what it's like selling at an event like this. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've learnt something new today, as I have, as usual. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, please like and subscribe and click the notification bell so that you don't miss when I post another video. You can also follow me on Instagram, and you can support my work through Patreon. See you all next time. Bye.